the scene. You heard a lot of evidence about Lil Wayne. What you didn't hear was any remote personal reason that Jimmy Winfrey would have any, even knew or had any kind of squabble with Dwayne Carter and Lil Wayne. So why did he shoot the bus? You heard about the public back and forth, and look at the actions before, during, and after of that shooting. Now, this is only a couple weeks after Dexter Montgomery. And it's 2 days before the shooting spree of Adele Drive and Jew Drive that Garlington, Zachary, and Sledge did. So all these shootings, when Gaither and Dennis come in and talk about shooting after shooting, they're not just making this stuff up, it's real. So this isn't Mr. Alvin Lewis's tour bus shot up. This is Jimmy Winfrey. You heard from Detective Dennis about visually seeing them, and Zachary kind of got spooked because he knew his social security number, which would probably spook out Zachary of like, how does this gang detective know me like that? And then you have this post, which is over at Act 121, I'm free, death before dishonor. Quite similar to the tattoo that Shannon Stillwell had, YSL. And what does he say about it? And by he, I mean Jimmy Winfrey. You have this post, which is over at 121, I'm free, death before dishonor.
For the thing, and then another thing, we let Amina know they got paperwork up in black and white showing, that I work for the company. That's not going to look like street business.
Get Amina to get the paperwork to put it in black and white, because if not, it's going to look like street business. Because it is street business. They just don't want you to know. That's that deception piece. They don't want jurors to know. They don't want the police to know. So get it in paperwork so we can make it look legit. There's nothing legit about shooting a tour bus driver's car on the highway. There's none. This is the phone records. They move as a pack. They move as one. This is before where Zachary, Winfrey, Sledge, McMullen, Greer, and Dolly are all in the general area of the vault. This is, when it's about to come up, is the compound, which is a little bit later. Zachary, Winfrey, McMullen, Greer, and Dolly, 142 to 304. They all have kind of similar times when they leave, similar times when they depart. And then the last slide is going to be Dolly and Jimmy Winfrey's phone records for when the shooting happened. And you can see the path they traveled. Winfrey's in black, and Dolly's in orange. And you know, the white Camaro that you hid and made the jail call to not get it found. And then, he comes out, and then it's YSL, death before dishonor. Jimmy Winfrey, quite likely, did not act alone. How do you drive a white Camaro going 80 down the highway and shoot that many times in a bus? Just think about it. It's common sense. They act as one, as you've seen. This is 2 days later. 3 other completely different YSL members, but all part of the same criminal street gang. Garlington, Zachary, and Sledge. Garlington gets jumped at Club Crucial. What do? They go on a shooting spree. First, they go shoot up 1428. Then they go shoot up 1903 Drew Drive. Back to back to back. This is Miss Bell. And when you talk about, credibility of witnesses, you don't believe Miss Bell's testimony because you like her. Everybody wants to drink a glass of vodka with Miss Bell. She was a sweet lady. You believe it because what motive does she have to come in here and sit and say that her house was shot up other than that it did? What motive does she have? What bias does she have? She's a good example. She's just in her bed trying to drink her a nightcap and just hang out. And what happens? They shoot at her because they think that her nephew or someone in YFN is there. That's not how it works in Fulton County. You don't just go shoot people's houses up because your op's there. But again, they're above the law. This is the timeline, 220 to 406 to 551. This is Zachary with what looks like an AK-47 and Demetrion Garlington, and there's Sledge wiping his nose. Just like, if you remember, he wiped his nose when he walked off that witness stand at y'all. So these are the things that they're telling you, and you're going to see photographs from these. First, it's going to be the Club Crucial shooting. When they post about guns, when they talk about guns, and then they tell you that they committed the crimes, it's not rocket science. You take them at their word, what the evidence has shown. These kind of retaliation is, again, Demikion's jumped. We got to protect them. It's a us, it's a we, it's an enterprise, right? And they act together because you have strength in numbers, protection and shootings. But this was a fist fight. Now, it was a shooting in the parking lot, and then they go to other homes, travel intentionally down there and shoot. Again, they're moving together in concert. As you saw from the Donald Thomas phone records, the Chanel Drinks phone records, the Lil Wayne phone records. We didn't put in phone records of this, but I think it's quite clear who did it and why they did it from the testimony of Zachary and Sledge and what we impeached them on. 34 shell cases. Drew Drive, roughly 2 hours later, right? This is where Miss Battle's apartment was. It's just her apartment right by the street. All these shell casings in the middle of the street, refrigerators and ovens shot. All because someone jumped Demikian, and so they go, no questions asked. Again, you don't have to sign on the dotted line. They have agreement, they have knowledge, they act in concert, and the criminal objective is to help the street gang, which is go get revenge. That's the RICO in action. So if you're asked, well, did Kendrick and Stillwell agree to be a part of a group that would commit racketeering activity? They agree to participate knowingly and willingly. And you have all these shootings, and you say, did they think that was it reasonably foreseeable, understanding when they joined that multiple shootings would go on with YSL? You bet there is. You've seen it, right? They don't back up. They don't quit. They keep hanging out, shooting, and associating, and publicly bragging about YSL over and over. This is roughly a month minus 7 days from when this shooting spree happened that these two, Garlington and Zach, would do. They can mess with us if they want. We're going to bring them homicide. Take their word for it. Because an aggravated assault could be a murder. It just missed. So they're shooting. They're telling you I am. And then they want to act like, oh, I'm just kidding. It's obviously not a joke. It's not a facade. It's very real. Conspiracy to commit murder, which is Diamante Kendrick and Martinez Arnold. Same neighborhood, Summerhill area, Confederate area. They have a stolen handgun and a long gun, and they're riding, yet again, after a fight, and this time it's not a nightclub, it's a strip club, Magic City. And you heard that brief snippet of a jail call where Kendrick's talking about it and talking about how Duke just called him, right? So, again, little questions, little actions, just driving and get stopped in the same area of town where Kelvin Watts and Miss Bennett and YFN Lucci and YFN, all of that area of town. It's not a coincidence. It's the same victim, same area. This red circle is going to be the stolen firearm. That's the long gun. This is Overt Act 111. 5 years later, you have the same two individuals in a slime t-shirt with Martinez Arnold. Again, they're still hanging, associating. And then on the May 9th, 2022 stop, Martinez Arnold and Kendricks are at that house that has all of those firearms and the marijuana out in the open. Nothing's changed except time. Public displays of allegiance. This is the photograph that I believe investigator Griffin, who was the lead detective on T.R. Jones' murder, introduced. Does that apartment complex look quite familiar to the steps of Miss Bennett's? Because it's 988 Confederate Court, that Confederate Court area. ABG territory, which is, and that's Kelvin Watts, right? And this is where they were headed. And obviously in 2022, they're still trying to shoot and kill, shell Kelvin Watts. You see how over time it's the same acts. That's conspiracy. It's just right before you. Now, objective 4. Remember how I said at the beginning, sometimes those stolen firearms or the robberies can play up multiple ways? This is a good example of it. Money, weapons, and other property through acts of racketeering activity. So those robberies and thefts, you could find them as they conspired to violate B, to participate in the enterprise, or A, they conspired knowing that they could acquire and get property a lot easier. Either one. The evidence can sometimes fit multiple. And you have the unlawful sale and distribution of drugs. Now, I'm not going to walk through all of the drugs we introduced or firearms or items. I'm just giving you a snapshot. That criminal objective has multiple. I think I would focus on the areas of where they are if there's other people within. And I think this kind of skipped through faster than I anticipated. This is obviously the May 9th, 2022, which is Jeffrey Williams' home. I'm going to go back one. And while that's coming up, I may get some help put up one of these easels that we'll talk about.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here comes the whiteboard. Love is ready.
Yes, thank you. This just has agreement, enterprise, and pattern.
3 words?
This agreement to be a part of the enterprise, a pattern, and they all flow together, right? So evidence that they agreed, they go and shoot rivals together. We go and shoot the same rivals with the same people together. Evidence for agreement, evidence for pattern. Does the YSL enterprise exist? Is it a loosely formed group of individuals for a same common criminal purpose? All of these 3 kind of feed together. So this triangle is just a visual way to help think through this. Okay, well, it's catching up with me. And I apologize for this, but what's going to come up next, this is the Green Store, right? This is a picture of Kenneth Copeland and Shannon Stillwell. You have August 23, 2013, where one of the first witnesses, Sergeant Heeb, H-E-E-B, he was with an officer of Viverito. Sound familiar? 50 individual packets of cleared marijuana. And this area is not far from where the Windsor Street gas station is in 2022, where Chanel Drinks was last seen alive before that stoplight. This is Trontavia Stevens, possession of marijuana after a traffic stop where he was with Stillwell. You've seen kind of over the years, multiple, sometimes at around 151 Cleveland, drugs. You've heard about the May 9th, 2022, all of the drugs that were found in the house. This is just a snapshot. These are some overt acts that you could use for this criminal objective of unlawful distribution of drugs. So I just include this as a tip. I'm not going to walk through every one. Act 48, 2015. Act 49, 2015. Act 65, 2017. 2020, it spans 7-year BB, Nichols, Stevens, right? You've heard and seen pictures of them, identifiers of YSL, overtime, in similar areas dealing drugs. That's another benefit or perk or objective of being in this kind of group, because no one's going to want to mess with you when you're going around shooting people and saying, I'm going to shoot. It helps you to unlawfully distribute drugs a lot easier in certain areas. Now, objective 5 is obstructing law enforcement, right? So you've heard about this in multiple ways. This is intimidation of witnesses, because that helps the enterprise, because then you can't get caught. If you can fool or deceive a juror, a detective, a pattern, repeatedly, publicly saying you'll lie to all your family and friends and then come here and tell the truth, basically saying, hint, hint, why can't you lie in court? You need to get killed, and then agreement where all of them benefit and know and participate in this. So what evidence do we have of attacks on law enforcement? Well, one of the first acts you saw is Trontavia Stevens, where you heard from the vehicle that was stolen and Officer Pettis, and there was that firearm and that yellow bucket where he tried to go and arrest Stevens, who has this slime tattoo on his body, and then he brandished a handgun, pointed it at the firearm. Intimidation. Now that officer was undercover, right? But he's trying to stop him and apprehend him, and he's just basically, I'm above the law, right? The same message that Shannon Stillwell was saying in present day. They don't think they can be held accountable. Police can't stop me. Now, we've talked about armed robbery of Derek Dotson, but this also proved this objective, and I'll show you why. That's former and present. That's the...
Yeah, he said, for no reason, what?
For no reason.
He's shooting for no reason.
He's shooting at 12, the police for no reason.
Shooting at time. Why for no reason, call him?
That's Adrian Bean's words, right?
And he got it on him. And he got the screen up on him.
Bloody DK, and I got the strap on me, and he throws up rocks through it at the time. And he's just shooting at 12 for no reason. Another attack on law enforcement. And again, you don't want to get caught. You just tried to rob Derek Dotson, so you don't want to get apprehended by the police. Officer Rogers. You're going to hear what people say before and after some of this and their viewpoint on law enforcement. officer in the Cleveland Avenue area shooting Officer Rogers. That's not just words, that's a mentality of, again, crimes are above the law, and it's a public message of that. I can't think of a more clear, raw example of that than this. Don't just house is shot on the 22nd of January and the 26th of January, 2015. And then, what do they say? What do they do? What are their methods of attacking or harming a rival? Well, that's the 22nd, 1007 Hill Street. And then the 26th.
I should have went up long crying.
Incidents, he shoots at I shoot at his mommy, he no longer mentions me.
Shout out to Katla Williams, though. That's my girl.
You see the text messages, right, between Huey and Thug, go handle that, Slatty. It kind of takes on a little different feel to it. All right, so keep going. What other actions do YSL members have with, and if you remember, right, the gun that Zachary had that he was arrested with got tied to those shootings. So this is where guns change. Multiple conspirators work together in concert. This is a tweet or an Instagram from Jeffrey Lewis. If I didn't like what you did for your mothers and kids, I would have been killed you. That's 2019. And then you have in 2020, coincidentally, Kendrick with Slat and a snake on him standing on the same Mr. Bennett's car, right? A clear sign of disrespect with a middle finger. And then fast forward, it's not just funny tweets or funny songs or funny cards, right? Let's keep going with this. Same victim, same YSL members throughout all of this. There's the flyer we talked about, right? There's the tweet, go handle it. You saw examples, you saw another example of that when Big Burrito was on the stand. Now, not only do they shoot at his mother's house, murder his friends, tweet at him, disrespect his car, then they try to stab him and actually do stab him in the jail, but they try to kill him is what I meant to say. And you saw the text messages about that. So let's walk through that, right? This is spanning from 2015 to 2022. Agreement, enterprise, pattern. This is when Jaden Myrick stabbing YFN Lucci in the jail. That's YFN Lucci. He's actually stabbed, right? This isn't just some fake violence. Then, this is still on that same
PT with the flash. Oh, there's no PT.
And this is Eppinger and Summer.
Now, hey, find out what I can get for that, bro. Huh? Now, find out what I can get for that, bro. Guess what? You don't know so much. I know what you is, bro. I just told you why I'm at. Okay, so what you need me to do? Find out what I can get, man. I just told you who I'm in the going with. Who I'm going with? Lucci, nigga.
Why was someone at Kendrick, Zachary have a gun, Shannon tweeting just wet, Lucci's, you know what? ASSL. Not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. Same victims. That's a pattern. I can't think of a more clear pattern. Now let's take this a little bit further. Christian Evans, right? The same one who robs Ray Hill with a YSL on his face is calling someone who has YSL tattooed permanently on his body and is talking about going to stab Lucci and get permission. Right? So these same co-conspirators work together over time. It's going to come. What we're going to show, see, there's something, right? Can't spell slime without the biggest. Publicly, fully, they normally and willfully agree to be part of myself. What do they say and what do they do, right? It's as simple as that. That is how you can know evidence showing that. All right. Now, what's the common denominator? Couple lots. This is Zachary Sledge. There's Couple Watts, Shell Hill, Donald Thomas, right? You just saw a picture of Donald Thomas and Mr. Bennett. And you saw the actions that the YSL criminal street gang did and talks about him. So here's yet another friend in a public picture of Donald Thomas, Couple Watts. What are their viewpoints on him? This is Zachary Sledge publicly threatening him in 2015.
You look still fast nigga.
We ain't really going back to no deal.
Nigga, well, you look bitch ass nigga. I know we hate. I'm never what. Yeah, fuck you, nigga, Cam. Whoever else, nigga, what, nigga? Whoa. They said I ain't really going back.
That wasn't dirt on the phone. That phone might be associated with dirt, but that wasn't dirt. He could be one of the ones that cleared dirt.
All right, they're fixing the mic.
You gotta say that dirt ain't know what
I'll
he was
just
doing.
use a,
You need money to say
Gonna
that
carry
dirt didn't
it.
know what he was gonna do.
okay.
All right, hold on. I gotta take a break. So, what are we at? We're 2 hours and 14 minutes into this stream. Because right now we're about 24 minutes away from the 2-hour mark. So, got just under an hour left of this first half. Because remember, they're trying to split 2.5 and 2.5.
Can you hear me now? Just for 2 hours.
Oh, we're approaching. Okay, they're approaching.
Okay,
They
what's
were using the
happening?
microphone. Then asked if they wanted a bathroom break.
Hold on, what's
Where
happening?
there's like a different sound. Maybe that's what 11 Alive does. When they do sidebars.
Y'all, shout out to Katno Williams. That's my girl. I'll be watching her live stream. It's a lot of content over there, so y'all make sure y'all go show her some love. We're watching the closing arguments. This is the state. I think they says 2.5. Yeah, see, she got it down there. 2.5 hours for each speaker. I think all of them is going to get a chance to speak, Hilton and Love. So we definitely tuned in. Shout out to Katno Williams again for the commentary. We here just tuning in. Shout out to my Kim Bays and my Kim Boos. Make sure y'all like the video, share it, and subscribe. We up to 1,300 subscribers. Shout out to y'all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I think that's just a regular courtroom chatter. And Allie B from Tennessee says, I thought they said nothing before 2016. 2017 would count, so why bringing up, or am I wrong? So they're not supposed to find unanimously that there is an overt act in support of the conspiracy. That was before May 10th, 2017.
Oh, yeah.
But it's weird because that one part, there were 4 overt acts on the screen with different dates. And Atkins says, here's some of the overt acts you can consider. And one of them was clearly before that timeline. So that goes against the instruction.
Anybody that needs to can go out and use the restroom right now too while the jury.
Oh, they
is
going
out.
on a break.
And we'll finish the states open and we'll break for lunch.
Alright, so that's the scheduling. And I don't know, there's like what, like 50 minutes, 50.
You know one thing, the state gonna make it sound real, real, real good, and then the closing arguments with Doug and Shark is gonna be just. I can't wait to see it, y'all. I can't wait to see it. Let me know what y'all think so far with the closing statement from the state.
Maybe. Okay. I want to make sure it's off.
Hello. Who was this? From where?
Alright, and while they're on break, Kathy Roussan says jury
I don't know what that
observation.
is, and this is
From
not
our
his name.
photog in the courtroom, jurors seem engaged. Some are leaned forward, taking in the closing. Some are taking notes. There's one juror who's leaned back, and her body language doesn't seem too interested. YSL trial.
Oh wow.
So, and then she's calling out Love's body language.
Yes, look at
It's
Love.
obnoxious.
Sit up. She need to sit up.
Like, Love's body language is crazy.
For her to be a
Like, she
lead
came back in
attorney.
just to
For
play a game
real.
of charades over at her table.
For
Miss
real.
Kim says, good morning all. His hand motions make me have to leave. Until Max, I'll return. I don't blame you, since I don't have anything good to say. Yeah, they say if you don't... Can we butcher quotes? Can we butcher some famous quotes the same way that Atkins did? Don't do as I do as I say. Is that what he said? The quote was? Something like that. But yeah, if you don't have nothing good to say, say nothing at all. Just gotta mess up quotes all day as a fun game. Good to see you, Miss Kims. I don't blame you for coming back. Got about 50 minutes here, and then they're gonna take a lunch break. So with that, you've got like two hours. Gina Simeo says, how many bumps did he do this morning? I don't think he's the type that needs extra energy. I think he's just one of those people that naturally... Some people just have the energy all the time. Energizer Bunny. Thank you for the 2. Chloe Albert Event says this closing is a racket. Yeah, I mean, they definitely... I would imagine they work together on this PowerPoint. That they move as a pack slide seems like something that was flowery and had a lot of words. And... everybody except Love said, Love, no, we're not doing this long-winded story about the Jungle Book again. Because it's one of the only slides that has, like, a short amount of words. So I feel like they pruned that down. They could take the Jungle Book stuff out of it and just say that. Yeah, he got it backwards. Do what I do, not what I say. Violet says, follow the money to prove YSL is an enterprise, but state didn't put it because there was none to follow. Yep, and Jim R in the chat pointed out, like, notice they didn't really charge under a subsection. They let it be an either or. And we keep hearing from all these detectives, investigators, well, I don't know, I didn't look at the financials. Well, seems problematic if you ask me. And there's a difference. If I happen to make money, but I didn't conspire to make money as part of the enterprise, I don't know.
Right. What is
Seems
that?
like an individual thing. So let's see what the jury makes of that.
What does that mean?
Chloe Alberts Event says, we've conspired here to show your ineptitude, bias, lack of evidence, and basic dishonesty here in this chat. Definitely to further YSL. Bring it. I don't even think you have to conspire all that much. I think Atkins' presentation would be a lot better if he left things out that seem like a reach.
Yes, because Atkins be doing too much. Like, I'm surprised he even had a chance to speak during the opening statements. I didn't think Atkins was going to speak.
If I caught that as a juror and I knew that that wasn't the full clip, I would be spiteful. I would be spiteful. And I don't care if you put up a sign that said, I'm not supposed to consider that. Because unfortunately, when you do one thing in a deceptive way, now I have to use that lens for everything else that you do. So, I don't even think we need to conspire here, Chloe. Okay, we're doing an off-the-topic poll here, you guys. Sweet potato or pumpkin pie? Oh boy. I don't know, I guess I either, depending on who makes it.
I'm going with sweet potato pie. Y'all like sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? I like sweet potato pie. Drop it in the chat what you like. I think that we is on break right now. If I'm not mistaken, the state 2.5 hours, definitely 2 hours each, and then the state has another 6.5 hours. So all day today, the state will be like chopping it up. I feel like we should go um, running back the live that I did um, until they get off of break. But yeah, they are on break right now. The state is splitting their 5 hours. So each, okay, they both get 5 hours. Defense and the state get 5 hours. Okay. I think Love and Hilton is going to talk about it next. Um, but they only supposed to get 5 hours. I don't want to miss
All right,
nothing.
then they finally mute the court. So there we go.
Are they on break or what?
Oh, they've got a hybrid gang sweet potato pumpkin pie.
I do not like all right, let's go. Let's go. Shout out to Katno Williams. We are going to go back to her live stream when they come back on from break. But let's see. Let's run Kimbella. Oh, I don't even know how to spell my name, y'all. Let's run back some tea until they get off for lunch. I'm going to be watching it from my phone just to make sure we don't miss nothing. Come on. I put this on my TV, y'all, because I'm actually working. I am working. How can I get this to be? Where is my channel? That's why people be saying they can't find me. YouTube, y'all gotta tighten up. When you type in Kim, my page should pop up. But that's okay, because we gotta get in the algorithm, y'all. Look, shit, I ain't even pop up. I'm gonna pop up now. You see your girl. You see me. You see me. Make sure y'all tap into some of the videos. Some of the videos. All right, let's watch. I need to get that down because I messed up on that one earlier. All right, let's talk about. Let's just watch one of the lives until they get back on it. This was 7 days ago. Oh, I need to get out of the camera. That's okay. Get past the good stuff. I'm not gonna tell y'all this is my daughter calling, talking about so she got some content. Y'all gotta teach the kids young, so when they get, up there, they be ready to jump into it, cause it's not easy. But today is the day. Shout out to all my Kim Bays and my Kim Boos. If y'all rocking with me and y'all still here, even my new Kim Bays and Kim Boos who won't be pulling up, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all hit the like button, and make sure y'all drop me some comments. 1 minute, y'all. 1 minute. Hold on, I think that we should stay on topic with Thug and them, so I ain't gonna even run that one. I'm gonna run this one. And then we're gonna tap back in to see what Kat talking about. YSL was a big thing too. I was following the trial. I was keeping up. I had so much to say, but again, I was taking a mental break, so I did that for me. So now I'm back on that, and I got a lot to say. So this stuff might be old to y'all, but it's new to my Kim Bays and my Kim Boos, and we having a discussion. So with that being said, y'all, we gotta get into Young Thug and the whole trial because it's been messy. It's been so messy and it's getting more messier by the day. Next week, we should know if it's the end of the end. because y'all already know it's two more people. It's Jacques Gotti and it's Shannon still on the trial. They did not take no pleas. None of that. It's only them two left. Everybody else done pleaded out. I think Fonnie was saying that is a couple more people behind the scenes who are still going to be fighting some charges. But the main characters who we've been watching, is only two more left. And Thug pleaded out. It was so many stipulations. I really, really, really pray that Thug can stand on business, because if you can't, that's gonna be a sad situation for your kids, for your family, for everybody who was rooting for you. So I really pray and hope that Thug can stand on business, stay out the way, and do what you need to do. But y'all, apparently, I don't know. I thought this was like maybe he's gonna say my page was hacked type of thing, but he goes on here. Oh yeah, Blue, we're gonna get into Miss Kayla Stillwell because I got some stuff to say. And I'm gonna say it. Because at the end of the day, that's what we do. We pop our shit. So make sure y'all drop some popcorn in the chat. But let me start off with Doug, because I just want to say that he took a plea deal, which means he pleaded to being guilty for his charges, right? And he pleaded out just in time before the last detective, who was Detective Viverito. If y'all not watching, she is the last person on the stand, is Detective Viverito. Now, I told y'all I'm going to do some reactions to some of the content on YouTube. I watch Seti Nash. I watch Cuff Boys. I watch Lead Attorney. I watch a couple of people, and you know they be giving it up, and not for nothing. They are saying this last detective on the stand, Viverito, would have definitely threw the key away to Thug's cell. He wasn't coming home, off of what she said, because she was connecting the dots. She was connecting the dots. Now, when they do their cross, we all know it's going to heat up. It's going to heat up. They're going to get the cooking. That's what they say. They're going to eat them up. But I don't know. I'm here for it. I'm ready to watch it. But on the prosecutor end, Viverito was giving it up. And if Thug would never had took that plea, I feel like her testimony definitely would have hindered or messed Thug up 100%. He would have been found guilty. That's my opinion as well. So I'm so happy he was able to get out of his situation, took a plea deal, even though the plea deal got so many stipulations. He's on there for about, 15 years. He can't rap about gangs. He can't even talk to gang members. Like, he can't do anything but go home and lay down. Like, that's it. Unless he's going to be singing, rapping about ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. I don't know. They did say he needed to go and do, I think, 2 ceremonies a year for the kids. So all in all, Thug really can't do nothing. However, apparently Thug went on X and put, "Gonna stop acting like we friends on the internet. I don't know you, my guy." I don't know if y'all think this is real or not, but I definitely thought this was like somebody hacked his page. Because there's no way 3 days after you went home, you screaming Gunna. If you not friends with Gunna, then let it be. You ain't seen Gunna in weeks, months, years. I don't think Gunna worried about you, and you shouldn't be worried about Gunna. And on top of that, y'all, in the plea, it said he asked, Brian still asked the judge, due to, contract agreements, hold on, y'all, because we missing it. I thought they was going to lunch. Oh, my goodness. I can't believe we over here. Let me go back to it. Let me go back to my girl, Cat No Williams. Cat Not Williams. My bad. Let me get back on her, because she be keeping up with the latest. And that's my girl, so I got to rewind it. Oh my goodness. I'm sitting over here thinking they on lunch or taking a break or something. Oh man.
And I misspelled. There's always one.
Oh, I need to rewind it. right here.
Late start this morning. Can you move that a little bit because that's kind of blocking the defense's view of the jury.
Sorry?
I don't know. Is that okay? Is that better?
The same, Your Honor, just how it blocks different curves.
Okay, no, that's not better. Either move it way over here or way over there. Now I can't see the jury. That's not gonna work. Put it way over there maybe. I mean, that's fine, but that works. Sorry. I don't know who designs courtrooms, but I don't think they ask anybody who uses courtrooms. Jury ready? All right. They do, yes. Now we have 3 podiums, so. You can roll the screen over this way some maybe, if you want them to be able to see them both. I don't know.
I think she's shortcutting his closing, unless she didn't count the break.
I think that screen maybe stopped working halfway through. So the other one, either the one above or the one, I think the one below does work, but the one above will. They'll switch it up a bunch. Thank you. All right, I think y'all probably saw that your lunch is there. We've got about 30 more minutes of Mr. Atkins opening. And then we'll break for lunch and then we'll come back and hear the defense closings, okay? All right, go ahead. Mr. Atkins.
Where we go?
So, you just saw that video back in 2015, and here we have the same picture, right? Kelvin Watts, Nut Life times 2, because you have Shamel Drakes, Kelvin Watts in this post. And that is the projectile that murdered Shamel Drakes, and the projectile that murdered Donovan Thomas. Same victims, right? You had Donovan Thomas with Lucci, and you saw how they treated Lucci. Now Donovan Thomas with Kelvin Watts, and you saw the connection. Similar victims over time with different YSL co-conspirators committing the crimes, often together. Not always the same, but similar patterns, which is important for RICO. Now, other connections. You heard about, we gotta take Buddy's name out of the songs in case she gets whacked.
I thought when I get wet, you know that shit come down on us. Yeah.
Because it's gonna come down on us. This lets you know that they try to toe the line to get right to where they can diss an op or say something but have some deniability. And then this is, that's wrong. Get your act. It doesn't, yes, it's just a song, but when you're shooting and continuing to promote violence on the same people, that creates a pattern. And that was Weekend Garlington and DeMarco Boyer, who was those phone calls you heard about the night of Shamel Drakes' murder. So what other connections do we have? Well, if you keep going, we talked about this drug sale, right? This is Durante Beebe. Who was with him? Darius Ford, right? This is back in 2020 at, I believe, 151 Cleveland. There's Darius Ford. Now, you have It should come up here. This is Rodelius Ryan and Durante Beebe, right? So remember, Ford, Beebe, Ryan, it's like a 6 degrees of separation through different crimes. So follow me here. This is Darius Ford and Rodelius Ryan. This is Rodelius Ryan, FYFN. Then you have Garlington, right? We got y'all. Ryan Ford. This is Darius Ford. That's Christian Miller. That Garlington's posted, right? It's the YSL enterprise and how they view each other. And if you exact violence on one of them, they're all going to try, or if you get a rival or not, it's for the gang. It's for the enterprise. And then if we keep going with this, this is 05 Driving Slim. This is Christian McMiller with Rodelius Ryan at Slime Business Rod, right? And he puts the heart emoji in the state. Then you have Shannon Stillwell and Darius Ford, right? And then you have Garlington talking about spinning it every night. Playing a song where Chanel James, right? So yes, it's a song that has a different context. You know what they do. This is from Ryan's Instagram, right? Slap, this is SB, what's up? Using Garlington's Instagram to Rodelius Ryan, right? There's connections between the co-conspirators, and it shows a pattern where they commit crimes together. It may just be Darius Ford and BB selling drugs, but then also may be shooting up all of these homes or murdering people, and they work in concert together. Now, it has to have, what is an enterprise, right? In this case, it's the criminal street gang. It's got to have a common purpose. It has to have a common kind of ongoing nature. It doesn't have to be a formal, like, employee roster or something like that. It can be a loose or informal relationship amongst them. It's as simple as that. You've seen how the way that YSL, the common identifiers and the way that they act and speak in concert shows that they have, I would argue, more than a loose relationship with one another. In determining it, you can use the pattern to prove the enterprise. This is where the crimes themselves and how they're committed kind of help you. And is there an enterprise? Well, the way that they work in concert shows you that there is. And I misspelled. There's always one word in every slide, and I've checked this thing 20 times, so I apologize. Racketeering. I knew there'd be one. Okay. So, is this a refill? Right?
Yeah, Uncle had on the car, the man got jumped and I know it. That's why I was telling y'all, last time I told you, I say, when the mile leading transportation, make sure y'all tell him to hit so a nigga know what y'all doing. Because he got up that way. See what Uncle was trying to see, everything, it was a mob, nigga, and nine do that jump on, bro. We just heard the same thing too. That's why we trying to figure out who was for that mob and for to jump in with some wild fan niggas on the shit. Yeah, that was folks were trying to call you and see like who the hell that was.
So do it for Phil, right? Trying to get protection is with, and the other car with Parmenius Nichols after the murder of Chanel James. Talking about Unfunk. Do it for Phil, the person who's hashtag top shotter, at Slime Business Rod, is Miles Farley. The same person who's in the Ford Fusion with Parmenius Nichols when they're at the gas station and then pulls out behind Chanel drinks, right? So you see this connection and support where when one goes in jail and someone tries to jump Farley, the gang gets protection. And they may use an allied gang. That's a pattern, and it's to further the enterprise because you don't want to get caught or get harmed. So take it a step further. This is Christian Eppinger, YSL British. That's Unfunk he's posting. Here's Eppinger, Wooney Lee, and BB, right? Only the slimes all together. Now, when you have Unfunk, Garlington, Sunland, so you have Eppinger in 2016 saying free Unfunk, right? Then in 2022, you have Christian Eppinger and Sunland having that jail call to try to get Lucci. And then you have Unfunk and Garlington trying to get protection because YFN, the same group of Lucci, is trying to hurt Miles Farley. So there's connections between the acts, there's patterns and the interactions amongst each other. And if you take it a step further, then you have Woody Lee with Shannon. You heard about No Slime Left Behind with Kendrick, actively promoting the gang. Yes, it may just be a photo, but when people think you murdered people, shot people, and got away with it, it has a different context to that. It has a much different context. What is Kenneth Copeland roughly 2 weeks before this indictment? How is he interacting, right? He comes up here like everything's in the past. This is Kenneth Copeland.
He heard somebody. How you been? Knock up 43, they got a 43-man indictment.
That was Paul said?
That was Toon said.
I don't know, he ain't talking that.
Yeah, he said no, he heard it, but you know, he probably just talking, ain't no telling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think for what?
I had Jake out of what's the name of him?
What do you think for what?
He just said, Rico, I guess.
Rico, I guess.
That's what he said. But I don't know how true it is. I told that shit, let's stop Instagram.
Better stay off Instagram.
Yeah.
Not like Rico.
Yeah.
What Rico? I'm not a criminal enterprise, right? They're casual with Copeland, and they kind of make you think when he's in this witness stand, like, I'm a changed man, or I don't hang out with him anymore, right? This is him in April 23rd of 2022. If you look at the indictment date, it's May 9th, 2022. That's 2 weeks before that indictment. And he's calling Garlington, who he said told him about what happened, that all of these two defendants, when they murdered Valentine. Think about that when you determine credibility in RICO. Taking it a step further, you have some.
No, listen, no, man, I think
Well, it's the call where he says he just got off the phone with Rudy, and that YSL stuff is hot. You need to take that down, right? And then at the very end of that, and I won't play the whole thing, but it's in evidence, they say, we need to take that YSL because it's hot, get off social media, right? So that shows you that they know, they just don't want to get caught. This RICO conspiracy, this is your verdict form. When we talked about A and B, it's going to look like this. As to conspiracy to violate subsection A.
Okay, just pausing real quick. If you wanted to look at the screen, he is showing a portion of the verdict form. What the jury will have to fill out to return their verdict. So important stuff. This stuff is important.
Be the defendant. A, acquire and maintain property, knowingly and willfully conspire. B is those objectives I talked about. Did you participate in the enterprise, knowing and understanding that a pattern of racketeering, which remember, check the indictment for the crimes. Do you think that they knew, these two defendants from January 10th, 2015 onward, that there would be robbery, aggravated assault, intimidating witnesses? I mean, of course they did. But think about that when you look through this, because you have to decide, is it A or is it B? I believe it's both, but you can find either as a jury when you deliberate. And remember, some evidence can factor into both. The robberies can be A. The stolen guns can be A. They also can be a part of B when you create a pattern. And then on the bottom, it's going to ask you about guilty, guilty. Please identify on the next page the overt action 5. So when y'all agree unanimously
I cannot wait to hear Love and Hilton Peace.
on an overt act, and you got to find one after May 10th, 2017. The good news is there's plenty of the state has proven happened after that date, so they shouldn't be hard to find. You write them down. And if you need to write 50, write 50. If you need a pen, ask the court reporter. She'll come bring you an extra pen if y'all need to run out of ink. But fill it out on the form after this, once you all deliberate and talk through the evidence. And you will find them guilty of the RICO enterprise when you look at the evidence and the common sense, reasonable inferences from all of it and some of these connections. I just gave you a few. I could do this 6 degrees of separation with multiple crimes throughout the case, but I tried to pick a couple to show you. And participation activity, this is much simpler. You know, the RICO enterprise and the criminal street gang is one and part the same. Criminal street gang activity is there is a gang, YSL. Clearly the evidence has shown at this point that YSL is a criminal street gang, right? Are they a part of that street gang? Do they commit criminal street gang activity? For purposes of this indictment, the judge will instruct you that the street gang charges, the firearm possessed during the drugs for Kendrick, and the murder of Chanel Drinks for Shannon Stillwell, both murder and possession of firearm during commission of a felony, which is the drugs, are criminal street gang activities. So all you really have to decide, in my mind, is there a nexus to the street gang? And I'm going to, this goes on to explain criminal street gang activity, which the judge will tell you that for these crimes, they are street gang activity. You have to find Kendrick and Stillwell and the YSL street gang.
Fix the microphone.
Which for all intents and purposes is the same as the criminal enterprise we've just been describing. And I'm going to, B is in order to maintain or increase status. So you'll see Shannon Stillwell as B. When he murdered Chanel Drinks, do you think that was in order to boost his YSL street cred and increase his status? Of course it was. He had no personal disagreement with Chanel Drinks. The only reason to murder him is because you saw all this public posting about get back, revenge, and he has that tweet I had earlier of up the score. That, when Shannon Stillwell committed that murder, it was to further the street gang. There's no other reason that makes any sense. And it would certainly boost his common signs, symbols, and tattoos. I only have a snippet. This is very similar to the first witness belt map, right? Y'all have heard ample evidence of all these identifiers. You've heard about slat, slime, the lizard, the snake, the green, Copeland with the hand sign. Y'all are basically gang experts at this point, probably yourselves, because you've heard a lot about it, but it's important to show you the evidence over time. Tattoos, I've talked a lot about these. I think it's important to, these permanent YSL lifestyle. This is Trontavia Stevens, that's Antonio Sumlin, that's the Diamante Kendrick, Slime Life, YSL, and then you have face tattoos, Javon Fleetwood, then you have Walter Murphy's gonna come up, and Christian Eppinger, public YSL tattoos on their face, essentially a walking billboard for the enterprise. And if you commit a crime with that on your face, it's to help let people know this is from YSL. Going a little bit further, 3 or more members, clearly there's 3 or more. RICO is 2 or more, gang, you need at least 3, so you can't have a gang of 2 under the law. It's the same principle, that block is easily checked as an element. This is just pictures of multiple, this is Rodelius Ryan adding all of the slimes. This is Kendrick, Copeland, Zachary, ball up them slimes back in 2014. And that's Trontavia Stevens, again, showing you how they publicly accept and acknowledge the gang, and at least when they're outside of the courtroom. Going further, this is Quindarius Zachary, November 6th, 2014. Well, I'll keep going, but it's a video y'all watch where he says YSLD, big bullets, and he's pointing a gun at a camera. That's just him publicly. And then firearms, right? This criminal street gang is armed constantly. These are some examples of acts where this is Shannon Stillwell with that firearm, Trontavia Stevens with this firearm. Going further, that's Christian Eppinger with a stock of guns. YSL Bridge, who said they want smoke, that's Zachary, still don't know any better. YSL Little D. They have these firearms because they use them. They're not sport hunting, they're not collecting them, they're shooting people with them, as you've seen repeatedly. This is Waters Road, the drum magazine, double magazine where it's taped together. That was the stolen one from the cargo. I'm just showing you examples, and if you think about it, it's quite a lot of guns, either in photographs or physically introduced. Why do they need them? For the enterprise, and for the context of this, the street gang. This is from May 9th, 2022. All of the guns in the home. Again, 2022 and 2015, they all are stopped and have and use firearms. That's the violence. That's the tool for the street gang. More firearms. This is from Rodelius Ryan in the middle with 6 firearms. This is Zachary with an AK, Zachary with an AK. This is Shannon Stillwell with nothing compatible in the trenches but a carbine, right? In 2020, over at Act 115. Over and over and over, they show you we have guns, we use guns, we're not afraid to use it. Believe it. The evidence has shown it. Gang detectives, I'm not going to go through everything. I think you've heard a lot, right? And what they talked about was not fantasy. Gaither and Dennis, when they talked about getting woken up in the middle of the night with all of this 2015, they interviewed Walter Murphy, they interviewed Quinary Zachary, they interviewed Copeland 6 times. Not an easy task. All of that stuff they did repeatedly, they didn't just, they all acknowledged it.
My gosh, why does music keep playing?
This is Jeffrey Williams. The cops asked them all. They know my business in all the jurisdictions. They all testified about YSL Street Gang, identifiers, identified members. Are they all wrong? Are they all just, Gaither and Dennis are just making up crimes?
Yes.
No. YSL is a criminal street gang shown by their actions. And Detective Belknap discussed the origins of Rock Crew, how it became YSL. He also mentioned how YSL, the street gang he started hearing about in schools before the record label was formed, and the rivalry between YSL and Inglewood Fame. Simple 2 words, I guess it's 3. 2015 first wave. This is waves of violence and a tsunami of evidence about a criminal enterprise operating throughout. And the second wave, Rio told you about it. She told you about all these back and forth shootings in 2019 and 2020, and she talked about what was going on in just 1 month, March of 2022. And all of these social media, she was clipping by, it seemed like almost an hour, to show this public disrespect. Same group, same victims, same rivalry in YSL and YFN. Nothing has changed except time. That's how you know it's a criminal enterprise actively afloat. May 9th, 2022. So for Kendrick, he's with Duke, Martinez Arnold in 2015 when they're stopped by Trestle Tree. You've seen the photographs of the marijuana and the firearms. He's in Jeffrey Williams' house. This is in May of 2022. Him actively having this armed protection, firearms, and being in a house, and then running when the police come with 2 other identified, documented street gang members. It furthers the gang's interest to have multiple YSL members together, even in one of their own homes, because as you've seen, they're going to always be armed and have firearms. So all you have to decide, in my opinion, if you meet the other elements, is there a street gang? Is there 2 or more members? Is his possession of the marijuana and firearm collective construction, which Ms. Hilton will talk to you about, in furtherance of the gang? And I'll argue that it is. Shannon Stillwell's, when you talk about participation in criminal, I made it green to say found. Like I said, I don't need to belabor this much. I think it's quite obvious that Chanel Drinks is a textbook example of a gang murder, where they literally just shoot him because they happen to see him at a gas station. He's a rival, that they're following Kelvin Watts and other postings that are dissing or alluding to the murder of McMillan and Ford, and that's why he kills them. But you don't have a license to just kill who you want because they happen to be in an Instagram post, or you think, or they are associated with a rival gang. That's to boost his street cred within the gang. And then, every slime plays nasty. What does Mooney Lee say about that? Yeah, they can argue that they're just trying to watch the local basketball game on the nightly news.
The ESPN got blowing it down.
He's got a gun, it says ESPN because we're blowing people down. I mean, I don't know what else to say. This is Kendrick's tattoo. You're going to see,
I don't know what else to say.
this is Miles Farley. ESPN tattooed on the back of his neck. This is going to be Christian Eppinger coming up here. Rise and Slime, ESPN, and I didn't clip it in there, but the song that Shannon Stillwell himself made, where he literally says, every slime plays nasty. So, these are common phrases, identifiers, and by nasty, they mean violence. You've seen it. Going a step further, is this a street gang? This is going to be Mooney Lee, and we'll tell you something.
Hey, man, yeah, man, that kind of shit, man. We know what the fuck going, man. Yeah, man, slime getting shit, man. Man, that birthday too, man. We need everything too, man. Shit on me for real. Man, get all tattoo on me, man. But stay in, for real, no cap, man. Shit, if you ever leave this, that's what it is.
Oh, man. I can't wait for Hilton and Love.
like 2 videos at a time. This is a hot mess.
It sure is, Kat. A hot mess.
Words, right? Rebellious Ryan. It's slime business, slap. I'm the BEO. I'm the BEO of this sex money murder set. You heard Belt Nap, Gaither, and Dennis talk about the sex money murder, where YSL is a subset of that, right? It's their own words. They're not hiding from it. They're not slat on the finger. And then you're going to have again, Miles Farley, when the OGs don't feed, it boosts up the crime rate, right? They're actively telling you what they're doing, which was in Rebellious Ryan's Instagram. You all saw this video. Again, take them at their word. Don't just take my... Little baby rollout. For small they do keep pistols, and they do light people up, which means shooting at them.
Wow.
What is YSL about? I said the deception. You have the flash and the fame and the lifestyle, and it's all a joke. And then you have the reality of YSL street gang members exacting violence on members of their own community repeatedly over the years with impunity. The intimidation. I think y'all all know well what we've shown and walked through, the violence publicly about witnesses who come in and testify, the way that people get YSL amnesia, as I call it, when they sit in the witness stand and they can't remember entire years of their life. It's not believable, except there's real fear and there's real trepidation to coming into a court and testifying. Destruction, I don't have to go on this long. It clearly has their actions and crimes have destroyed pockets of the communities in multiple communities in Fulton County. And death, you've heard about the murders that they've committed repeatedly. It's not just words. In Fulton County, you can get a driver's license, you can get a fishing license, but what you can't do as the criminal RICO enterprise is no one's above the law, and you don't have a license to kill, and you don't have a license to operate for impunity for a decade at citizens in Fulton County. Because it doesn't matter in Fulton County if you're the richest, if you're the poorest, it doesn't matter anything about who you are. You don't deserve to be victimized. And the criminal enterprise has a lot more power and strength. And the crime that they've done, the pattern, the evidence, the agreement that they've had from publicly proclaiming it is clear. That this RICO enterprise is very real. It's not just, it's more than just a conspiracy. It's alive and active. They willingly and knowingly agree to it. And they don't think that anyone will hold them accountable. But as reasonable, fair-minded jurors, when you deliberate and walk through the evidence, and you compare the evidence with the law from the judge, there's no conclusion but guilty on count 1 RICO. And I argue it's both subsection A and B, but that's for y'all to decide. And these crimes charged, the criminal street gang and RICO, I ask you guilty on all those counts. Ms. Hilton will talk to you after the defense, and we'll talk to you about why the defendants are guilty of the charged murders of Donovan Thomas and Chanel Drinks. Thank you.
All right, lunchtime.
And let's take until 12:30.
That's only 40 minutes. It's 39 minutes. So Paige is moving this along.
All right, the jury, please. All right, the jury.
Child, it's lunchtime. Next, I think Hilton is coming up. I think I'm going to end this live and then come back when Hilton come on so we can have one live just for Hilton closing testimony so it won't be all jumbled together. I will be back at 12:30 because that's when lunch is over, and then we will pick up with Hilton closing testimony. Let's see if they say anything else before lunch.
Timer, not including breaks.
So we might not be done with the state.
So they have 5 hours total. So there's a good chance, especially with Hilton doing.
On the jury charges that I sent, the overt act definitions, include some that are previously defined, but on the possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and possibly by a convicted felon.
Oh, check them out. They all in red suits. That's nice.
The previous definition, when it's in the counts, covers
Oh,
only
look,
the
the color
crimes
coordination's a
that
little
these two
much.
defendants will be charged with, and that there may be others, so we may have to kind of do a little definition of those again to make sure that it includes whatever crimes might be alleged in the overt act. So that's one change that's gonna need to be made. All right, see y'all back.
All right, going to lunch, y'all. I will be back at 12:30 for Hilton testimony or closing argument, and I will see y'all in a little bit. Bye, y'all. How can I take this out?